Hi, and welcome to episode 24 of M1 Yarns and the Michigan Makers podcast. I'm Jamie, the hand dyer behind M1 Yarns. You can find me everywhere on the interwebs, Instagram, Ravelry, Facebook, you name it, at M1 Yarns. Today, I'm going on a journey about an hour north of my home here in Michigan to a fiber mill to chat with a friend of mine and learn so many great things. So grab your project, grab something to sip on while you watch, and please enjoy this special interview. Thanks for being here.
Yes,
or thanks for having
welcome.
me, I should say.
Yes, you're very welcome.
I just kind of invited myself.
That's okay. That's how it gets done.
So please introduce yourself.
Sure. I'm April Zeilinger, and I am the Director of Operations at Zeilinger Wool Co.
Awesome. So what can you tell me about Zeilinger, right?
Yes, Zeilinger, yeah.
Doesn't roll off the tongue in the morning. So what can you tell me about the mill for someone who's never heard of the mill?
Sure.
And maybe isn't from Michigan and has never been to Frankenmuth, because that's where we are, right?
Yes. We're in Frankenmuth. I did not grow up here. My husband grew up here, and he's fourth generation to fiber processing. His family, his great-great-grandpa, bought the mill from Franz Ranke.
Okay.
And in 1910. And from that point, they had a contract with the military, so they made socks and mittens and things like that. And then after that, they kind of moved to bedding. And then once his grandpa came into the business, he did like some clothing, they did sweaters, they did things like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then once his mom came into the business, there was a big market for roving, for hand spinning. I mean, we always kind of did that, but it was just a different market and a different time.
Yeah, I think there's trends, right?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
And then from that point, they went on to yarn.
Okay.
So yarn was added to year 2000.
Mm-hmm.
So they were kind of late in the game, but they still added it, and it was a huge success for them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So how did you come to be part of the process?
Yes.
Because you do a lot here.
I do. I do. So my husband took a hiatus from wool processing. I worked at a credit union, and he came there fresh out of college, and he was a business development. So he went to Central Michigan, graduated, came there, and was working with businesses to, new businesses to do their banking and develop plans.
Yeah.
He worked there for like a year and a half. We had gotten married, and at our fourth child, so I got pregnant with my little Lincoln, and we were like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah,
We have 4 kids. Right. I'm working at another credit union, and not that I had like a super demanding job, but it was 40 plus hours a week. And to have 4 children, get them to school, do all that stuff, it was like really stressful. And I just told my husband, I'm like, maybe it's time for me to come to the mill. And he was like, I don't know. I'm gonna need you at some point, but now's not the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay. And then I actually quit my job, and I came home and I said, I quit my job today.
So now is the time.
So now is the time. And he was like, oh no, what are we gonna do? So funny, but not funny, because
Right.
it was like, whoa, okay.
It's like one of those life-shifting moments.
It was a life-shifting moment. We had a lot of decisions to make. I mean, we were just like, okay. So I started, like, you can see my little posts on social media. They're so sad around that time, because I had no idea what I was doing. I don't have any formal education in marketing or anything. It was just learn as you go. Mm-hmm. School of hard knocks, they call it, right?
It's the best
So
way.
that's what I have. But I started doing like little posts, and then I would come in, and his mom would be here, and she would say, I can't really pay you that much, and there isn't really that much for you to do, but you can come here, and we're happy to have you. You can do some paperwork and stuff. And I was like, okay. So I started to come here, and it was like, oh my gosh, we have so much potential. Mm-hmm. And they built such a beautiful business, but I don't think they realized what they had.
Yeah.
And John will tell you, my husband will tell you that too. They had a really great relationship with their customers. They offered a lot of services, and so it was like, okay, well, let's see what this is all about.
So who are your customers primarily?
Yeah, so our customers are farmers.
Okay.
So they're sheep producers, farmers, but now we're getting into those who don't have animals. So that was a market that they had never thought about. So usually it's people that have farms. So I started to visit some farms. I started to talk to some people. I went to some shows. I went to Rhinebeck. You should have saw my first Rhinebeck booth when I did it.
Well, your
sad.
Your Rhinebeck booth this year was so great. I was bummed that I flew there because I wanted to bring everything home. And then I thought to myself, well, number one, you have an online shop, right?
Yes.
So I could do that. And number two, I live
close.
like an hour away.
Yeah.
I can literally come up anytime.
Yeah, exactly.
And just invite myself.
Yeah.
But
yes.
you do have a retail storefront, right?
Yes, it's teeny tiny.
Okay.
We'll
so
go through there.
if anybody comes up to Bronner's, which is Christmas 364 days a year, I think.
Something. 61.
Yeah, they're
I
always
used to work
closed
there.
like, oh really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a whole other conversation. Right?
We're an hour and a half north of Detroit.
Yeah, and it's totally worth it. It's a beautiful drive, and it's a lovely town.
It's a little German mini Bavaria. Is
Yeah.
What it's,
And
little Bavaria, is that what they call it online? I'm not sure.
And this Bronner store, which I think we've mentioned a couple times, is like
Amazing.
Isn't it like 5 football fields?
Something like that.
And it's all Christmas ornaments and Christmas trees and Christmas anything you need.
It's pure joy in one store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an experience that you have to do at least once. So we digress.
Yes. So I forgot where we were.
Oh, your Rhinebeck booth.
Yes,
Yeah.
my Rhinebeck booth. So I went there and I'm just like watching everything that's going on.
Because it's a zoo.
It's a zoo, and I had no idea what to do, and it was crazy. So the first year I went, I think, I'm not certain if my sister went with me or not. My sister lives in Tennessee, and she flies up and goes to Rhinebeck with me usually. I walked around a lot. I talked to a lot of people, saw a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this place is crazy.
Yeah.
It was great. So I learned a lot just from being there and just observing, asking questions. I'm a question asker. I'm always like curious of what's going on. So then the next year that we went, I took my sister and I was like, you got to check this out.
Does she knit or crochet or
She
any?
crochets.
Okay.
So she flew up. We drove to New York in my minivan with my friend who knits, and we went. We had a new booth design. It wasn't the one that you saw, but it was another one. It was like an upgrade. We set up. We did like so much sales in that day. Just Saturday.
Yeah.
That we were like, oh my gosh, what just happened?
Yeah.
So
Made you kind of like.
your booth matters.
Yeah.
The design. So then after that, we got in the car. We're driving home from New York, and my friend goes, you really need to learn how to knit. She had been trying to teach me for years because she used to live with me.
Okay.
And I was like, I know, I just really don't have time for it. She's like, no. You're going to take this class. My friend offers knitting in Saginaw.
Okay.
And you're going to go and you're going to learn to knit. And I was like, okay. She just told me what I had to do. So I learned to knit in a classroom at the little yarn shop in Saginaw.
Okay.
And then it was like game on because now my yarn stash is humongous.
Right.
But that taught me so much about what type of yarns we need to offer, what kind of blends we need to offer, what people are looking for,
Yeah.
how to talk to somebody when I'm offering yarn or selling yarn or taking their order, and where the market is at with it all.
And it's like the full circle from the farmer to the
For
stash.
sure. Yeah. And I had like, I grew up 10 miles north of here amongst crop farms.
Okay.
So I grew up in a farming community.
Yeah.
But I had no idea.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. It was
Oh, that's
wild.
amazing.
It was so much fun.
That's incredible.
Yes.
Wow. I'm blown away.
it all just kind of happens so quickly. I've only been here 5 years.
Really?
Yes.
So it's been like...
It has been nonstop. Nonstop. We launched our website once the pandemic hit. I had already had it like done, and my husband's like, "You need to push the button. You're wasting time here."
Yeah.
And I was like,
"Okay." Because when you're building a website, you're paying for it, and it's like you're not using it. I've been there.
Yeah, and I just want to pick everything apart. It's not perfect, so I can't like put it out there. But my husband's like, "We'll fix whatever we need to fix," and there's still things to fix on it.
Sure.
But we're
people.
there.
Yeah.
Right.
We're not perfect.
So then social media was a huge thing. So we had a 10-year-old website when I started, no social media presence. And in 5 years, I mean, we've grown that. I wouldn't say it's crazy, but it's grown.
So I'll insert here what your social handles are.
Yes.
So people can find you. So we saw each other at the Michigan Fiber Festival.
Yes.
In August of last year, where we were both vending. So that was exciting.
Oh, yeah.
And then I bumped into you, like we said, at Rhinebeck. So how many fiber festivals do you... I know we've had a couple COVID years in here. Life's not normal.
No.
So what is like your average calendar like as far as any excursions or outreach?
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah. So we started May with Maryland Sheep and Wool.
Okay.
So once we start that kicks off our show season.
Yeah.
And then it's crazy until about November 1st.
Yeah.
We do typically like 11 shows a year.
Okay.
My husband and I usually travel to half of those. And then his cousin works here as well. He actually runs this machine that's behind us. And he goes to the other shows. So we split them. I mean, we
helpful.
have 4 kids. So,
yeah.
And my parents live in Florida.
Okay.
So usually for Rhinebeck, they'll fly up and watch our kids while him and I go there.
Okay.
And then we did crazy stuff last year. We decided to do back-to-back, and so we went to SAF like that after Rhinebeck.
Yeah.
Like we came home and then left for SAF.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I fell over when we got back because I was
draining.
exhausted.
Yeah. What is 2022 shaping up to be?
Yeah, so we'll have more Jill yard. Probably quite a bit more than what we had last time.
And tell us, for those who don't know what you're referring to.
Yeah, so
yard.
Jill Zeilinger, North Bay Fiber. We spun her collection for her. Super talented. Jill's immensely talented. So she'll have her heritage base again. I mean, obviously we can't control how much the sheep produce and wool, so she's sold out of a lot of things very quickly.
Yeah.
And so in the coming year, I believe we'll have double the amount for her of the Tarhi. So that'll be great. And then we're actually hoping, fingers crossed, that the end of this month we'll be launching a wholesale site for Bear Yarns. And what that looks like for an indie dyer is that we will have a farm that we got the wool from. We'll have a farm profile, so you'll know about your farmer. And then you'll be able to purchase Bear yarns that we've spun so that you can dye in like a small batch or special situation. I don't, like I said, we can only control how much wool comes off the sheep or how much they produce, so they'll really be small batch special.
I love that. I think that makes it extra special.
It does.
So now you are a knitter. Would you
Not
say
very good,
a
but
knitter with a capital K? Maybe?
No.
Pushing it?
That's pushing it. Let's just say knit and purl.
Okay.
That's all I'm doing right now.
That's all there is.
Yes, but I'm
There's
like
some yarn over.
Yes. No, I'm not gonna go there. I have too many kids and a business to run right now, and I just can't focus on new stitches.
Yeah.
So I've done a lot of cowls.
Okay.
And I'm working on a hat right now.
There you
and
go.
I haven't done decreases. So this is new for me.
Okay.
So on Thursday nights, the little yarn shop in Saginaw has knit night. And so I had been going there, been too busy lately with the holidays and everything else. I don't think I've been there since before Rhinebeck, honestly, because it's just like you're in freak out mode.
Yeah.
But I need to get back there because I got to work on my decreases because I'm almost done.
You can totally do it.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
watch YouTube videos, but it's like, oh, I don't want to screw it up and then have to like try to fix it. I mean,
So now do you find that it's a relaxing maybe end to your day, or?
for sure. I think
So should we do a little walk around and you can
Yeah,
tell
we
us
can.
a little bit about the machinery?
Yeah,
and-
for sure. Here, on this machine, we process the wool batting for blankets. We also process the roving for spinning on this machine. And these machines, my father-in-law bought pieces to and put them together. So if you can even imagine what that looks like in a world where textiles had been moved overseas, you're looking for 1930 to 1950 machinery, you know, however you're going to find it through the market of textile machineries. So they purchased and put these pieces together, and this machine has 2 breakers. It's a wool carding machine, and what it does is takes the washed wool and then it cards it through. If we were doing batting, it would run through all of these rolls, which have tiny little needles on them, and it flattens it out, gets it ready for processing, gets that vegetable matter out, and then what it does is it goes onto this big wooden drum, and then this big wooden drum just makes its way around, and it has a counter on it, so when it's done and ready to be pulled off and cut into the batting, they just pull it off and put it on the table that we were sitting at, and then they cut it to size. So if you had a queen, they would just take it and just pull that bat right off, lay it on the table, and cut it to be a queen.
Because you make, like, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for.
Yes.
Quilts, blankets.
So we make comforters, mattress pads, pillows, quilts, like thinner stuff. Yep, we make the batting for all those.
Okay.
We make custom orders. So a lot of our farms, they want custom things rather than just bedding. So we've done dog beds. We do dog beds for one customer in New York all the time. So we're processing the wool, and she's making dog beds.
I bet those are amazing.
Yeah. This machine is dual purpose. If we're not making batting, we can make roving, and it comes out of this end here like a tube of toothpaste. So if you think about squeezing that, it comes between these 2 things, which are called aprons, and so that roving will come out, and we'll just bag it up, and I'll show you a bag of that and what it looks like.
So this is roving.
Yep, this is just a tube of fiber.
And what kind of fiber are we dealing with?
You know, it would depend on whatever they submitted. We do everything from coarse wools, fine wools, alpaca, all sorts of stuff. So it just depends on what the animal. We usually keep like an order card, but wow, they're filed away.
What are these?
This is comb top. So that goes through another set of combs, and what that does is gets more vegetable matter out. Really great for fine wools, because with fine wools, that vegetable matter wants to stick to it because there's more lanolin. So you get like a little bit more flex in there, and so they take that out with another process and comb top.
Okay.
Cutting machine. And so this one's running dark, so that would run white wool, this would run dark wool.
Okay.
And we do that for no contamination. This is a dehairing machine.
Okay.
So with some animals, they have an undercoat. You know, they have some hairs that are coarse and some hairs that are super soft. One of those is buffalo, and this is buffalo. You can squeeze it. We're dehairing buffalo right now.
Oh my God, that feels amazing.
So we're taking the coarse fibers out of the buffalo wool and leaving the soft stuff to be spun into yarn. So this is a dehairing machine.
So how does this compare to a carder?
So with this, it's just running through and separating those. The carder's not going to do that great of a job. It can still do that same job. But this one is actually taking that, and pretty much a higher percentage of the coarse wool is going to come out. So here's where Blake is making comb top. So what will happen is that these will go through and the combs will take that vegetable matter and dirt out. It won't fully take it out. You know, it's always really dependent on how much the animal is getting. So however much that they're getting in the fleece when they're, you know, the environment that they're in really matters.
Yeah.
And sometimes people put coats on their sheep so they don't get so much vegetable matter, and some people don't. And so usually comb top is getting as much as it can through another set of combs after carding. So it'll try to get that out. And then that's when you saw that in this big huge bag right here.
So this bag would be representative of when that process is done. Got it.
Yep. Yep. So then you can see that it's pretty.
Oh, it's nice.
Yeah, and you don't see any vegetable matter in it, and you can actually see like this where the combs have went through this piece.
Yeah. That's lovely.
Yeah, super cool. Spinners love it. Okay,
So tell me where we're at now.
so we're in our retail space, and this was renovated probably the third year I was here.
Okay.
My dad and I actually hung the slat walls.
Nice.
Yes, and so we renovated this space. I wanted it to look like a barn so that when our customers came in to drop off wool, they kind of felt maybe a little bit at home. And then when our customers who don't have farms come in here, it takes them to a place of maybe feeling inspired about where the wool actually comes from.
I love that.
Yes, thank you. So the focus was to make it look barn-ish, and so that door was actually made by hand by Greg, who works in our yarn mill.
Beautiful.
He does an excellent job at woodworking, and so that's recycled barn wood that he used to make that door for us.
I love the gears.
Yes, super cool.
So tell me about Foodie Yarn.
Okay, so after I learned how to knit, our mill did not have their exclusive yarn line. It seemed that every mill that I researched had some sort of yarn line for themselves, and totally understood that, because when shearing isn't happening, you kind of have this drop in income. So we thought, well, we're going to develop something to keep that income coming in once shearing isn't happening and we're not getting in wool, because I would say a majority of our income comes from processing.
Sure.
So when we did that, I said I had to set myself apart from what everybody else is doing. And my daughter was so intrigued about what I was doing, knitting, and she's watching me. She tried to learn how to knit, and she's like all about it. So we said, wouldn't it be cool if we did like ice cream yarn and like all these foods? And so her and I kind of came up with the idea of Foodie Yarn.
I love it.
And so this is our first collection, and I did like more of an organic launch. We're almost sold out. And what I found is actually the superwash is what is selling out, and the natural. They're fun. I don't know how much more we'll move on from, you know, doing the next. I don't know when we'll do the next one, or where that's going to take us, but
Yeah.
it's something fun to be able to offer, something different.
Yeah, people love
Yeah.
stuff. I love these mugs.
Oh,
I need to get me one of these.
yes. So I have all sorts of things in here. We don't have the space. I would love more space to be able to offer more yarn, because I feel like that would be really great for us. But we're really limited, as you can see, on the space that I do have. So we try to make the most of having a variety of things here.
Yeah.
98% of what we have in the store is made in the US. I don't carry anything that's made overseas other than like two things. And the two things would be like this stuffed sheep. Those
Sure.
are made in China. And then also there's some, these are from England actually, the Mitchell's wool fat soaps. And those would be the only things that I have from
Nice.
overseas. Yeah.
That's great.
Yes, and so then most of our product we've had a hand in making.
Okay.
Either we've made it 100% here, like the blankets.
Okay.
We make those, tie those by hand and sew those here, make the batting here. or we've had a hand in making it. So like our socks, we spin the yarn for our socks, and we send them to knitters in the U.S. and they're knitted in the U.S. So,
and this is like a nice little homage to the early days of the mill.
It is.
With the Army contract.
It is, and we actually do a lot of making yarn for our customers, for them to have the socks knit as well.
So long story short, if you're not a sock knitter, you can still buy and enjoy some lovely wool knit socks.
Yes, I am not a sock knitter, so I wear those socks.
Nice. And these slippers
Yes.
look amazing.
They're handmade.
Oh my God.
Yes, I work with someone in Vermont, and he hand makes them.
Yeah.
And so we have some like slides coming without the backs, which I'm like excited for. We haven't ever had anything like that.
So do you sell these on your website?
I do.
Cool.
Yes. Hat knitting as well. We make the yarn for that, and then this person who knits the crew socks, which I'm wearing, actually makes the hats too.
I love these.
Yes, Newberry Knitting out of New York knits those for us.
Very cool.
Yeah. So we have all sorts of lovely woolly things that we've had a hand in making.
Oh, these are awesome. I love these upcycled
I know.
sweater mittens. How fun.
Yes, they are fun. Those from the sock knitter as well, and she makes the cashmere headbands. Those are recycled sweaters as well.
Oh, cool.
So, yep. And it's our yarn that's used to secure them together. And
these are nice.
Yes.
Nice,
and then
nice.
these are our yarn on the cuff as well. So.
Oh, cool. Let me get a good video.
So you get a little bit of us with the recycled sweaters.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes.
Okay, I remember when I ran into you at Rhinebeck, I was just obsessed with the pillows. So tell me about that.
Yes, so we have two types of pillows. We have a fluffy pillow, which is like a wool stuffing. It's a wool stuffing, and this is really great because we put a zipper on the end of that pillow.
Okay.
And then, so you can like take it out and wash your pillow casing,
Oh,
which
nice.
you can't normally do, and I always want to do that.
Or you can add more stuffing or
add more,
like personalize, right?
Yes, you can personalize your wool pillows. So
Okay.
we have those pillows, and then we also have our traditional pillow, which is a very firm pillow.
Okay.
So this is our original, and it's a wool batting, just
Okay.
folded up
Okay.
and then put into the pillow. So all these are made here.
Yeah.
They're stuffed and sewn by our staff upstairs.
Very nice.
It's a natural,
Yeah.
natural fibers. You're not sleeping on chemicals.
And wool breathes and is antibacterial and
Microbial, yeah.
yeah, it's so much better for
It is.
you.
The mattress pad's like the way to go.
Yeah.
If you're ever wanting to invest in, I mean, that's like sleeping on like the best thing ever. And I can say that because again, I'm married into wool, so I had no experience.
Right.
My husband like doesn't know the difference because he grew up like hugging wool his whole life.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Oh, this is pretty.
Yes, those are camp blankets. We spun the yarn for those, and there's a sample right behind you in that window. Great for the outdoors. Those are woven at McGoslin's in Canada, so our little friendly neighbors there. They do it on machines.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so nice.
So our customers can take advantage of that too. So the farms that we're spinning yarn for can have their wool made into those blankets as well.
That's amazing.
Yes. We've had a lot of people, because it's a new offering,
Yeah.
that they're really loving that we're doing
And
that.
these are on your website?
They are.
Great.
Yes.
Gorgeous.
You want to move to the yarn, or
Yeah.
do you want to know some sheepskins
Oh.
come from Texas?
Gorgeous. Okay, so
All
tell
right.
me about where we're at now.
Okay, so we're in the yarn mill now. This was added to the business somewhere around the year 2000. And it's sad that my husband and I don't know the date, but his dad passed away in 2019. So, you know, we got as much information as we could out of him up until that point.
Yeah.
But there's definitely things that we didn't ask that we were like, dang, why didn't we ask that? So around 2000, this was added. We had a very small spinning frame, which I'll show you, but the thing that's big in here, that was big in here to begin with, was the carder. It's a 3-breaker as opposed to the 2-breaker that we saw in the main building.
Does that mean more volume?
That means cleaner wool.
Okay.
So it's working through another set of rolls to try to get that vegetable matter out, because we all know that when we're knitting and we're picking out vegetable matter, while it's charming sometimes, it wouldn't be as charming if we had like a ton. So
Yeah.
We'll move to the step in the process of where it begins. And so after it's washed, it's actually picked on this picking machine here. All of our processes start with that after it's washed. And what it does is it separates the fibers, because once it's washed, it's kind of jumbled together a little bit in certain places. So that gets it prepped and ready for processing. So once it's done there, it goes in the wool closet. And so they take it out of the closet by hand, and they actually put it in the back of this machine. And this is the exact process that would happen next door when we're doing roving and batting. So as you can see with this machine, the comb, cast iron combs, are going down the little, I call them the little combs, and then the big comb, which is the rail right there with the set up. It combs it. So that wool is getting pushed into the machine by those combs, and it's getting fed on that belt. And then what happens is it comes into this metal pan right here. And so once the metal pan gets full, it's weight, so it's getting weighed. So once it's hit the certain weight, there's a little handle, a bar, gets to that weight, and it drops it and puts it in the first set of rolls. So you can see that this wool here has been dropped in by the pan, and then it's going to start the process of moving through all these rolls. So you got like one big one here, and then all these small ones, and another big one here. So it rolls through gear and belt and electricity all through these rolls. It moves it to what I call a wool bridge. As you can see, it kind of like just makes its way to the other set. So you can see here that it's moved to the second set of rolls. 2 aprons get it fed, and it just moves it across. I think I got a video on Instagram and Facebook that shows that being moved back and forth. And then it gets fed into the second set of rolls, goes through the second set, goes through the third set of rolls. And then at the very end here, it comes off as pencil roving. And if you're familiar with that, it's actually really great for spinning. So I think this might be the Tarhi silk that we're making.
Oh, that feels amazing.
Oh my gosh, it's so soft. I was squeezing it yesterday. Yes.
It's gorgeous.
It will come off of here. We actually, we rack them. So we put them on the rack, and then get a nice, get all of the wool carded, get it on the racks, and then from the racks, it goes up to the spinning frame. So this is the spinning frame that we've had since we've ran the mill in 2000. This is the spinning frame we've been running.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
On these, how many yards do you think one holds, if you know?
I do not know that.
Or is it by weight?
One cake here is typically 4 ounces.
Okay.
So that would make 1 skein.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep. And then, and I'm like totally guessing on that is what I think.
That's fair.
Skein.
There will be no quiz.
Thank God, no. So then we put that rack roll up here on this rack, and then it's fed through here, and it actually spins onto the wooden bobbin. And I have pictures of that on socials too, of it being done on the wooden bobbin. And again, this is gear and belt electricity on this machine as well.
So you hope you don't lose power.
Yeah, and it's I don't know.
How many bobbins do you have? I guess I should say, like, how many bobbins can you spin it?
Yeah, so I think this is, I believe this to be a 96.
Cool.
Yes. So this is actually very small for this was cut.
Okay.
So this is very small. This is what we're moving to.
Okay.
And so this is how many we'll be able to spin
So would this be considered more modern, perhaps?
It's not.
Or just different?
It's just different.
Okay.
So it's bigger. We need more because we're doing so much. This is, it's not necessarily holding up anything, but things will just run a little bit quicker with being able to spin.
Yeah.
You know, we might be able to spin all sock yarn in one thing instead of kind of waiting and doing this many at a time, you know?
Yeah.
So, this machine we obtained in Ohio. Margaret was looking to get rid of hers. She had this. And she's a weaver, and she used to raise her own wool,
Oh, wow.
shear her own sheep, process her own wool, weave her own clothing, sew her own clothing.
She did it all.
She did it all. She was amazing, and the history that she has is incredible. So she was looking to sell this equipment, and we were able to purchase this from her.
That's cool.
Yes, because she's reached to the age to where she's looking to retire soon.
And I'm sure these machines are really hard to maintain. You can't buy replacement parts, right?
Usually we can have them made.
Okay.
We have them made. Our techs, like you met Greg, and Jeremy works in here as well, they can fix these machines.
Okay.
So they're trained, whatever they need to do, they can fix the problem themselves.
That's great.
I know.
That's essential because
It
you got to keep
is.
things moving.
It is.
Literally.
Yes. Yes. So they do a great job at keeping us going here, even when we have breakdowns. So then the twister, it actually, when you see those really cool, like white and colored pieces twisted together in yarn, this is what that machine would do.
So it's going to take
It's gonna
essentially.
ply it.
Okay.
Yeah. So this one also was, it's new to us. I believe we got it in 2020, January of 2020, and we purchased this from Maine. And the reason, again, why we did that is because we had something smaller and we needed the ability to produce more.
So do you envision that one day you'll need maybe more land or more buildings on the land? Yeah. Some lofty
I hope
goals.
so. I hope that we're that fortunate.
Yeah.
I would love that, and I hope that we're that fortunate.
Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah.
wish you guys
Dreams
much
and
success.
goals.
Yeah. You have to dream big.
Yes, yes. I've already mapped it out. My husband tells me to slow down. So from that point, they have to take it and cone it. So from the bobbin to the cone, and that's what this machine is doing here. My husband is, he's on the floor a lot, so he could be doing that or spinning, twisting, whatever.
Yeah.
This is scanning.
Okay.
So this is a very small skeiner. That would be the next purchase maybe we would be looking for, is something that's a little bit larger, because we're only able to do about, I think it's 8 at a time.
Okay.
So when you think in terms of Jill's yarn line, we're running those skeins. It's an automatic machine. It goes by fairly quickly.
Does it do it by weight, or is there like a yardage counter?
So it's either or. So if a customer tells us they want a certain yardage, based on their fiber and how it ran, because you know every fiber runs differently, and sometimes when we're running it, you may say I want a worsted weight, but then if your fiber is fiber that has the tendency to puff out, it could end up being an Aran weight. You know, it could step up.
Yeah.
So we do it based on a formula, and the machines have gears, so we run it on the gear of what the customer really wants, and then, you know, they come and it's depending on what their fiber does.
Yeah.
So then at that point they say, well, I would really love 150 yards. So there's a formula that they actually weigh the yarn and figure out how many rotations it is. And so they can set this here to how many rotations that it needs to make that weight
Okay.
or make that yardage.
That makes sense.
If they say I want 3 ounces, then we have to figure out how many yards. So they do the formula the other way.
Okay.
But yeah.
Like multiplying and dividing.
Yeah, like things I don't want to do.
Yeah.
Math.
We're not math people.
I don't want to do that. Okay, so
So these are scraps.
so these are scraps. Sometimes when they're carding, in the carding process, What they do is they actually take a sample and they weigh it. If it doesn't weigh, sometimes we have to recard it to get it to the right weight. Sometimes things might bunch up or catch in the machine and then they got to cut it. So
then what do you do with these?
we make yarn out of it.
I was going to say, like, that would make really cool scrap spun yarn.
Yep. So we usually make yarn out of it.
So then it'll just go through the carder and kind of get, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yes. Scrap yarn. We sell scrap yarn. So then after it's, well, before it's steamed. This is a steamer. I don't have it on, so I'll open it. But the yarn goes in here, and then it gets steamed. It kind of like relaxes it, because after it's been spun and twisted and everything else, it's like, I'm so tight, I need to loosen up. Our bedding department. So we have...
Oh, these are so nice.
That's a mattress pad.
I wanted to feel one. I think you had one on display at Rhinebeck.
I did, I think, yeah.
I think that got me thinking.
Okay, so this is our bedding area. This is where we are making our bedding by hand.
Okay.
So we talked about downstairs how the batting is made on that machine downstairs. They actually roll it up and bag it and bring it up here to be made into whatever the customer has asked us to make it into, so whether that be mattress pads, duvet inserts, comforters, pillows, whatever their choices. So then we bring it here. This is actually the frame that they're putting the wool batting on.
Okay.
And so they are taking a piece of fabric, the wool, and then a piece of fabric. And then they're taking and pinning it to this frame.
Okay.
And then they're hand tying each individual thing with a needle and thread.
Yeah.
When that is done, it moves over to the sewing table, and then we have one person doing the sewing for all of these items. She also makes the pillows from scratch, so she's cutting fabric, stuffing it with wool, and then sewing up the pillows. Dog beds, as you can see, they've actually labeled some yarn during some downtime for me. So I have some yarn here that needs to go up for sale. What else? They, so on all the labels for the blankets, so like the camp blanket that you saw downstairs, the woven blanket, they're sewing the labels on those and bagging up product and making sure it's labeled and priced up here.
Okay.
Yeah.